Happy New Year.
Good evening,
Good evening.
and we're called to order.
Yep, call to order,
Wrap your gavel.
Called to order.
There we go.
and then roll call.
Got two. Pete Catula,
Here.
Robert Bishop,
Here.
Mike Kramer, is absent, Catherine Getty,
Here.
Todd Hurley,
Here.
Eldon Newmeyer, Eric Schaefer.
Here.
And the first thing we usually do at that point is someone make a motion to excuse our absent members.
I'll make a motion to excuse our absent members.
Which is
Eldon
Mr.
Newmeyer
Kramer.
and
Yep,
Mr.
yep.
Kramer.
Support. Do we vote on that?
Yep.
Do
The,
all in favor of excusing the absent members say aye? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay? No nays?
We're good.
Motion approved.
Minutes.
and then next,
Need
yep.
a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a motion to approve the meeting agenda for today?
Oh, wait, sorry, you're right, the agenda. I was missing that.
Motion to approve the agenda is presented.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Did we vote on that too?
Yep.
Yep.
All in favor of the motion to approve the meeting minutes, say aye.
Agenda.
Meeting agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Next agenda item. Consent agenda roll call vote. So do we both of these at the same time, previous meeting and?
Yep, so you just need a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of April 18 and the revenue versus expenditure report through June 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Support.
Do we have any, is there comments for this or not? Does anybody have any comments? No comments? All in favor, say aye.
Nope, I got to do a roll call on that one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and here's.
Just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, really, Mike's gone. Catherine Getty,
Aye.
Todd Hurley,
Aye.
Eldon is absent, Eric Schaefer,
Yes.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Pete Catula.
Aye. Seeing no public comments, do we have anything on, anybody online?
We don't take those online.
Okay,
Our YouTube is only presented. There are no comments.
got it. Therefore, seeing no public comments, we'll move on to the next agenda item. Presentations, are there any additionals compared, referenced? No. Moving on, old business, LDFA Plan 2024 and beyond. Is that you, Alex?
Yeah, so with the 2024, the plan and beyond, as of right now, not a whole lot's changed. Staff is still actively looking for possible industrial park, possible industrial expansion. We're not having a lot of luck with that, but we're still actively looking and trying to make something happen in the near future before the plan expires, and then we'd have to go for that. Craig should have a lot more updates for you on that in October. And if there's any questions on that, it's a pretty brief update as far as that's concerned.
What's the timeline on that for, we're good through the end of 24?
25,
Okay.
end of 25. So we have
Okay.
till the end of 25 until, so we're still trying
Still
to.
got some, okay.
Yeah, we still have some time and we're still trying to figure out. Most of our projects right now are in process of being completed or have been completed, or they have, they're an ongoing process. So we're trying to find new projects or something to amend the plan to keep this board active and vibrant.
Right, to justify the extension, really.
To justify it, yes. So that, right now, staff, we're just trying to work on that to give you guys some opportunities to do that, so.
Alex, what happens to the ongoing commitments if this isn't a going concern?
Right now, the ongoing commitments, my understanding is they wouldn't be totally obligated. Those ongoing commitments would be fulfilled until the money was exhausted. The money would stay in the LDFA control. I think it might divert back to the village, but it wouldn't go back to the individual entities if it was. So if, for example, if there's like $1.5 million sitting in the reserve funds, when the the board expires, it's not necessarily going back to, it still can be used for industrial growth until the.
I think the significant, the water
Yeah.
treatment?
Yes, water, sewer treatment plant, yes, that's
Yeah.
75,000 a year, that has been committed, so.
Okay.
That's something that could be, the board could say, okay, it's $75,000 a year, we've agreed to pay that for the next 20 years. We are going ahead and going to transfer that into the sewer fund today's date, because this board is going to go away. So then that goes automatically into the sewer fund,
Okay, good.
delegated just for that purpose.
Okay, great.
So,
Good, thanks.
any other questions regarding that?
Nope. New business?
Okay, 24 budget adjustment. For the most part, this is clerical adjustments. Originally, there was $900,000 set aside in contractual funds for the 2024 LDFA budget. Glorimar has been going through everything and trying to fine tune all of our budgets over the last year or so. And with what she's found, the best way to do is to take that full 900 and divide that in and actually allocate it to the designated areas rather than keep it into contractual funds. So 750,000 of that is going to be going to the High Street project. And that would be broken down into $250,000 would be going into major street funds. $250,000 would be going into the water fund to help with that project. And then that $325,000, 75 of that would be going into the sewer fund to help pay for the bond payment, and the remainder would be going into the sewer fund to pay for the High Street project, to help assist with that. So at this time, if there's any other questions, it's allocating those into the fund, so then that when we're all said and done, it's gonna leave $75,000 in the contractual fund for the 2024 budget to do what the board wishes to do with that money. So you already have, out of that 900, all of that 900 is allocated except for 75,000 already. So we're just allocating it right now and moving it right out of that fund.
Gotcha. Seems to make sense.
And we'd already allocated it to High Street.
High Street and the sewer fund, yes, you've already voted on it, already allocated
Right,
it. It's just
right.
moving it, so
More
we-
specific.
yes, we can't just move that money inside there without board approval. So,
So the decisions have really been made, it's just paperwork.
it's clerical paperwork, but we can't physically do the
Yeah.
clerical paperwork without board approval.
I'll make that motion.
Support. All in favor of reallocation into the newly designated buckets for clarity?
I'm gonna do a roll call, if you're okay with that.
Certainly.
It's money. I mean, I know it's already been done, but I think we usually do a roll call for
Yeah.
budget
Okay.
adjustments,
Yes,
don't we?
that would be a good idea.
Okay. All right. Catherine Getty,
Aye.
Todd Hurley,
Aye.
Eldon Newmeyer is absent, Eric Schaefer,
Yes.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Mike Kramer's absent, Pete Catula.
Aye.
Yes. Yes, so next on the list is the Irving Road water main replacement. And add to that, you should have an amended agenda report on your tape in front of you, is the Railroad Street reconstruction. Both projects are currently in the plan with supporting the industrial traffic for Irving and water for Irving. I'll get a little more in depth with that. And then Railroad Street with emergency services and traffic. The Irving Road project, it's a pretty extensive project. Right now, we're engineer estimates, depending on which way staff and council and the LDFA board choose to go, we're between about 1.6 and 1.7 million. That is going, there is a water main that is roughly about, let me make sure my facts are right, about 3,300 feet of water main to be replaced. That water main runs from the old ski hill on Irving Road. There's an underground water reservoir tank that's there. That water main runs from there all the way down the ski hill and then heads south on Irving, or north on Irving Road towards Main Street. The current water main is an 8-inch water main that has been installed since estimating about 1940, in the mid 40s, I should say. And I'm estimating that because I know the tank was installed in 1949. I know that well was put in service in 1944. So somewhere in that time frame, that water main was installed. To my knowledge, we've had one significant break there in the last 10 years. But other than that, it's been pretty reliable. But with that being said, we have 3 storage tanks in total in Middleville. One over by the high school, one over by Lee Elementary, and then the Irving Road storage tank. The Irving Road storage tank, all of the industry in Middleville gets their primary water from that storage tank. If something were to happen catastrophic, we can definitely get all the water from the other side of town. It's not the end of the world. But long term, it could diminish our availability of giving water to the industry. So staff has prepared this engineer's estimate for replacing the water main. And along with replacing the water main, since we're going to be going down Irving Road, we'd be doing a complete reconstruction of Irving Road similar to High Street with brand new sewer, water, curb and gutter, and then sidewalks ideally would be running along the east side of Irving. So right now, on the Irving Road portion, we're just looking for LDFA if they would consider supporting this project. Right now, just in this help with design cost for the design of this project, then we can get this project designed. Hopefully by October, have a really good preliminary design set for you and a more tuned in cost estimate. And then can present that back to you if that's something that you guys would be interested in supporting with that tank. The tank itself was put in 1949. We inspect it every 5 years. It's a concrete tank. It's in phenomenal condition. It's due for an inspection next year and a half. But every inspection I've had since I've worked here has been a pretty good, reliable tank. And then also on the same request is the Irving Road, which is also in the plan. We don't have a detailed cost estimate prepared for that as of yet. But with looking at the engineering design costs for Irving Road, we're kind of estimating the engineering design costs for Railroad. That would be, we'd widen section of Railroad Street, or a good portion of Railroad Street we'd widen to help promote the emergency services, give them plenty of room to get in and out with all the events. Again, put curb and extend sidewalk there, and then replace all the water main. That water main ties into Main Street and then the High Street, and also gives a river crossing that goes across the other side. So right now we have 2 river crossings in Middleville. One was replaced in 2015 when we installed the new bridge. And then the other river crossing is fairly old. I don't know the age of it, and it's a 4-inch water main. So the one water main crossing we have is very reliable, brand new. The other one's fairly old. Right now, staff is contemplating on doing the Railroad Street project and preparing for the water main crossing project, and do that at a separate time, just because of the complexity and the extended cost of just replacing that main itself. A lot to take in. Open to any questions on any of the above.
So can we chunk those up a little bit?
Yeah, so,
Yeah, let's talk about Irving Road first.
yes, yep.
So your Irving Road tank, you're not recommend, you're just kind of footnoting that
We're connecting to the tank.
gotcha.
So
The tank
the-
doesn't need to be replaced.
No, tank doesn't need replacing. And just a footnote, the water main that we're replacing is the main supply and distribution line from that tank.
Gotcha.
So if that line were to completely fail, that tank would be completely out of service.
Got it. And how, from where to where on Irving Road?
So approximately 162 Irving is the address. So just past the first curve, if you're
Okay.
looking on an aerial map,
Yeah,
and then you go straight east about 2,000 feet. Actually, there's a parcel that is owned by the township straight east of Irving Road up the hill. That is approximately within about 300 yards of the tank.
okay.
So we're just going about 2,000 feet up a hill towards into the woods is where. So I would say maybe at 2,000 feet, probably about 1,800. I would say half of that water main is going to be on a public roadway on Irving Road, and the other half is going to be on a village easement that we have going up there.
Gotcha. What does end of life for a water main look like?
So it varies a lot depending on the condition of the soil, condition of the pipe. Mr. Bishop had asked me that earlier. The newer stuff that we're putting in ductile iron water main is 60 to 80 years. There's a new HDPE that's 80 years plus. The cement asbestos water main that we currently have that's installed, 60 to 80 years was the estimate. There's some cement asbestos that's been in the ground since the 20s and have zero issues with it. It's kind of like the clay tile pipe, if you can.
So it's degrading, I guess.
It's
what's-
not degrading. It's just the overall age of it.
It's the age.
It's right now, we have not had any significant issues with that at all. We're looking at the overall age of that and saying, okay, it's put in the mid 40s, and we're trying to be proactive and take care of it before we start having several issues.
I got you. And then Railroad Street I'm sorry, was there any other questions with? No. Railroad Street? Well,
Yep.
can you talk about that one in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, so Railroad Street is right across the road here.
Yep.
That runs from Main Street and wraps back up to High Street. Railroad Street has, I believe, a 6-inch water main on it. It has 2 force mains. Those force mains, one feeds the west lift station. Just to give everybody an update, a lift station is all of these sewer goes in the gravity sewer, flows downhill. It can only go downhill so far, and then it has to get pumped. Those lift stations, the sewer flows into the lift stations, and then those pipes pump all the way up to our wastewater treatment plant. So 2 of those force mains are on Railroad Street. One force main was, my estimate is put in about mid-70s. That mid-70s, somewhere around there, because it's the ductile iron pipe, pretty good shape. The other one is the cement asbestos. And again, I wouldn't have any idea when that was put in. That one is from the east lift station. That in the east side lift station, so east of the river, that takes a large percentage of the industry wastewater that comes into that. So if you back up for industry needs, the east lift station, which feeds all of a lot of the sewer from there, we're supporting that. And then another branch of water main that supplies High Street, which Bradford White, one of their 6-inch services, comes off of High Street, one of their 2 supplies going into their plant.
Gotcha. Thanks. Are those the oldest that oldest
Oldest water mains in
Yeah.
town?
right?
I would say say pretty close. There might be a couple, maybe 2 or 3 other streets. So for the most part, the village over the last 30 years has been pretty good and proactive of replacing. We have some stuff from the 70s and 60s that's in fairly good shape. And then there's pretty much just everything east of 37 is fairly old. So I'm guessing most of the stuff from east of 37 is the 50s or 40s, is my estimate.
Gotcha.
So, with the exception of Grand Rapids Street, Main Street, some of the areas that we've already touched over the years.
Got it.
On Irving, there were some, if I recall, some residences within village limits that didn't have either water or sewer.
Sewer.
Okay,
So all of the residents well, I'll take this back. There may be a couple of residents that don't have water on Irving Road, and that would be between the Well 6, the Ski Hill entrance going back to Main Street. I do know all of the residents south of the Ski Hill are on village water. That water main it's newer. I can't tell you off the top of my head when it was installed. I believe it was in the 90s or 2000s when that was installed. Everything south of this entrance there.
so, is the sewer being replaced when you rebuild Irving?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
will, the idea is to replace the sewer, and if we can extend it, we'll try to. That particular area, once you get past the Ski Hill entrance, there's some elevation issues there. So I don't know if we could replace it or extend it, but if we can, I would try
Because
to.
some of those houses still have septic
All of the houses
south of
south of the
ski hill.
entrance are on septic, yes.
Now, is that just because they would need a lift station out there for just the few houses that are?
Off the top,
Between
yeah,
there.
off the top of my head, just knowing the current elevation of the sewer main, it might be doable. If we, drop the sewer main down quite a bit, depending on where the invert is, where it hits Main Street, if we have the elevation to do that. But it's something we could definitely look into, and that'd be a good idea to do.
If it's extended, do they have to hook up?
So how I read the ordinance, I'm not saying I'm correct. How I read the ordinance, it is at the either council's or manager's discretion if they have to or not. But status quo, what I've understood is if their well fails and they are within 200 feet of public source, they must connect. And same thing with the sewer. And it's between the health department if they have enough land for that or not. So I don't think there's a forced connection right away, but if it fails, that's where it's a forced.
It just puts those decisions a little bit, do you run the line in anticipation of
Yeah.
a failure? Like for instance, my well failed in grandma's house,
Yes, yep,
like 2 weeks after I closed on that house back
Right.
in 2000.
right.
And that was one house out of village limits. So in that case, if Strong's, well fails.
Yeah, Strong
you know,
has water right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Or
they are,
sewer, let's say
yes.
their septic fails.
Right.
Put that in, and I know it's a handful of parcels.
yeah.
But do we, is the village going to run the line? And, how does it come into this project?
Yeah,
and
and
will
we
done
haven't,
that?
without doing all the elevation costs, I don't believe running the line all the way down there is built into this cost. With the cost of this project, extending the sewer line, I don't think relatively would be that expensive.
Mhm.
Adding that cost, I think that would be a good thing to do. With the exception is if the elevations can't match, that's where it might get a little difficult of having to install a lift station. So sewer line, let me find it. So we're about $70 a foot for installing sewer line. So it's not that costly. So if, just to kind of throw rough numbers out there, you know, we might be looking at an extra $10,000 to $15,000 to install sewer out that way. That's doable. We have to put a lift station in, that might be an extra $200,000. So that's where it's kind of weigh the pros and cons on that. I would be totally on board and recommend the council to extend it out, just to give the homeowners an option.
The other question I had goes to the water and the water extension, especially to this side of town and the industrial
Mhm.
users. We know that we're mixing that water from the west side to the east side.
Correct.
With the 3 wells.
Yes.
And that helps with nitrates and with some hardness, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes, so nitrates as well, yes, we do. So where you're going with this, yes, on the east side of town, our water is very good quality, especially out of the well 6 that is right there at the ski hill. That is probably our best quality drinking water that we have, and frankly, our highest producing drinking water that we have. On the east side or the west side of town, we do have one well that has some nitrate issues, and we blend that. Our maximum limits that we can possibly have in drinking water per the state is 10 parts per million. That well is at about 12 by itself. We run that well simultaneously with another well, and we dropped it down to about 5 or 6 parts per million. So the overall goal for myself would be to actively pursue 2 to 3 more well sites on the east side of town, and for current and future growth of the wells of the village, and abandon one of the wells on the west side, just to give us a little more resiliency and quality of water. That helps.
Well, and I mean, my point being that if there was an issue with the water main on Irving,
Yes,
while we might have capacity from the other wells on the west side, we would have quality issues.
correct. And partially correct. So you're 100% correct on that, but we lose capacity. So there's a firm capacity, or what's called the state of Michigan. We have to hold firm capacity. Firm capacity is what you maximum can produce per day with your largest producing well out of service. So our largest producing well out of service would be well 6. So that would limit the amount of water that we can supply the community per day, per state standard. We'll call it that. It wouldn't limit how much we can supply, because we can supply, one of our wells could easily, and we have in the past, supplied the entire town for weeks. No problem at all. But as far as the state's concerned, our firm capacity would be greatly diminished if that Irving Road water main were to fail.
And I guess so then my point is that there is risk.
Yes,
There's significant risk with with waiting for something to fail.
yes. I mean, us trying to be proactive on this would greatly improve our resiliency and reliability of our system versus, as Catherine's alluding to, is just waiting and say, okay, we've had 4 water main breaks in the last 5 years on this line. We probably should start looking into it. If proactive, especially with the age of it, would be very smart of us.
I would move to approve the payment of $136,000 to cover engineering costs for Irving Road reconstruction and $114,000 for engineering of Railroad Street reconstruction projects totaling $250,000.
Support.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Yep.
I didn't mean to preempt, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to preempt any further discussion.
No, we
'cause,
do
I
have to
mean,
ask if there's
that's-
further discussion.
right.
Yeah, sorry. Any further discussion? Okay, now we can vote. Todd Hurley,
Aye.
Eldon Newmeyer is absent, Eric Schaefer,
Yes.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Mike Kramer is absent, Catherine Getty,
Aye.
Peter Katula,
Aye.
Okay, Bechtel Street. Correct, okay. So Bechtel Street, as most of you know, Bechtel Street is located just west of Metaldyne facility. So the old Metaldyne facility, excuse me, lies between State Street and Market Street. Bechtel runs just west of that. Bechtel is in pretty poor condition. We've been patching it over the years. And we're trying to look at a way to best utilize some funds of LDFA money this year. With the Metaldyne that lies right in there, we are looking to do a 3-inch mill of that road and then put brand new asphalt of the about 500 feet of road right there. At the time I wrote this agenda request, I had put 80,000 on there. That was kind of my high estimate. That was prior to me getting the quote from Reith Riley. I'm not suggesting or recommending that we go with Reith Riley at this time. That's just the first quote I've had in my hands. If you look at this quote, you can totally forget about items 5, 6, 7, and 8. Those ones do not pertain to the LDFA. That is separate from some other projects that the village is looking to do. What quotes we're looking at is quotes items 1 through 4. And there's actually 2 options. So 1 and 2 are one option, and 3 and 4 are another option. So I would recommend that we go with options 2 and 3. And that is to mill 3 inches of asphalt off of the road and reapply that with brand new asphalt. And I apologize, I did not add those up prior to. So for a total of $42,770 to repave that road, section of road. We won't be doing any extensive underground work. All of that main is roughly from the 70s. We haven't had any major issues with that water main. There is no sewer main that runs down that road. Currently, there's no curb on that road. We're really just trying to help the business owners promote their business, maybe try to sell it or do something to promote the industrial facade of that building. If you'd like further explanation or questions or comments, I'm open to them.
Would you chip seal it?
Eventually, yes. Well, yeah. If paving it this year, we would not be able to chip seal this year just because of the structure with or scheduling with the county. And I guess I'll rebut that. That is my goal to chip seal. I'm doing more investigation on chip seal right now. Chip sealing our highly traveled roads have worked out very good for us. Chip sealing some of our lower traffic roads, the chip seal really doesn't seem to hold as good. So I'm looking at a couple different options of if we can chip seal and then do a fog seal over top, or just several options with that. So that is my goal. I'm not saying it's a guarantee though.
So you alluded to something in there. Is this pavement going to go right up to the building and where the docks are and some of that? So this is heavy truck traffic eventually.
That particular road should not be heavy truck traffic. That particular road would, yes, there is potentially heavy truck traffic on that road. But most of the docks are on the, yes, there is potentially heavy truck traffic on that road. And no, we wouldn't go right up to the building itself because the building itself is outside the village right of way. So we'd be going onto private property. We'd go as far as the right of way is, hoping then that the property owner would choose to move forward with that themselves.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because there is no curb line right there. It is just asphalt that goes right up to the edge of the building. So
Yeah, if they make some modifications there, typically they end up chipping up the surrounding area.
yes,
You know.
yeah, and typically when they do that type of work, if they're working in the right of way at all, we have to have a right of way permit, and that's where some of those things fall in line of, okay, yes, you're going to do this right of way permit. If anything happens to the road, you would be liable for it, so on and so forth.
So is there a changed request from the 80 to the 40?
Yeah, so if the board would entertain, my staff's recommendation is to approve to repave Bechtel Street not to exceed 43,000. That would give staff time to get 2 more quotes, just to make sure we are keeping everybody honest. So we wouldn't be approving Reith Riley's bid, we would be approving their bid, and if we get somebody cheaper and same quality, we could go with them.
There's no sidewalk in that area.
There is not. There is no sidewalk to connect to in that area whatsoever
There would be, there's sidewalk.
on State Street. Yes, there is.
No,
No, there's not down there.
I mean, there's some in front of TVC.
But that
And
doesn't,
then it would
then there's a
like
gap.
kitty corner on the south side of State Street. That's when the sidewalk picks up.
Correct.
Just generally a lack of sidewalk in that neighborhood.
Yes.
And with my hat on, like when you're there,
Yeah.
we generally want to add sidewalk when there's an opportunity.
Yes. I would agree with that wholeheartedly when the opportunity makes sense. So anytime we do I'll call it a major construction project, I am looking to add sidewalk anywhere I possibly can. Even a minor construction project where it definitely makes sense. I don't want to say this doesn't make sense here. It's just where you're speaking of the jogging back and forth on State Street, no sidewalk at all on Market. If we were redoing this complete road and we were putting high back concrete curb in, redoing the grades, because the grades on this don't really match. So we'd have to start doing shoulder work and getting grading done. So you're probably looking at another $40,000 to $50,000 just in sidewalk. Frankly, that leads to nowhere. I agree with you as putting in where we possibly can so we can continuously improve and continuously
It looks
expand
like-
our network.
It looks like the right of way is only 33 feet there.
Believe, unless you're. Yeah, it's offset. So,
That's a standard 66. Even if it's offset.
yeah, I guess, I'd have to double check that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to double check. the
There's some
exact-
weird places like that where,
Well, as some of the board knows that there's been a lot of weird things that happen in that little neck of the woods over the
Mhm.
years.
with the original plating.
Yes,
So I would confirm that. I accept your explanation. I just,
yeah.
it would.
You have to task me the question. I agree.
I do,
Yes,
to be
Yes.
consistent.
yes. And did you see the brand new sidewalk that never existed on Dearborn that was there?
You get extra points for that.
Any other questions, comments, thoughts, concerns?
Do we have a
Motion.
motion to support not
Not-
to exceed
43,000.
43,000 for the repaving of that area of Bechtel Street?
Yes.
I will so move.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
And we will take a roll call.
We will. Eldon Newmeyer, absent. Eric Schaefer,
Yes.
Robert Bishop,
Aye.
Mike Kramer, Catherine Getty,
Aye.
Todd Hurley,
Aye.
Pete Katsula.
Yes. Any other new business?
No, not from the staff.
Seeing none, hearing none, moving along. Manager, anything with the manager's report?
Did he provide? No, he did not provide one. So just to give board updates. Craig is not here this week. He is up in actually Marquette at a training, or manager's conference, I believe it is. So we were kind of joint prepared this packet. I wasn't sure if he put that in there or not. That was an oversight on my part. And don't want to throw Rhonda under the bus. But for the most part, we're, for LDFA is concerned, we're continuously looking to expand and promote and help any industrial growth we can. High Street project is coming along nicely. It just started about a week and a half ago. All of the pavement has been ripped up and removed. Most of the curb and some of the sidewalk has been removed. Installing water main right now. Total completion is about mid-October, hopefully a little bit sooner with that project. Hopefully we should have very little to no water interruption. Well, there is going to be water interruptions, but planned water interruptions for residents on High Street. Because of some valving and things, it won't affect Bradford at all for the valving when we shut and retie that in. Other than that, there's not a whole lot I have personally. I'd be open to any questions, anything in general. I'd be more than happy to answer if I can. Question?
No answer.
Okay. Moving along, any other business?
Any other comments or in general task that direct us for or anything?
Thanks for filling in.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Support? All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting
Thank
adjourned.
you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Nope, you're fine.
Have a good one.
Stop asking sidewalk questions.
I know.